I'm gonna make a like because you sent me the link, it's allowing me to share the live stream. So I'm gonna as soon as you tell me, because like I wrote in there, hey, I'm on it right now. So as soon as you tell me or as soon as you start your intro, I'm gonna click post. So if you get any weirdos in the chat, I apologize. No, my chat is super polite and nice, but you know, I don't know. I was just making a joke. Cool. Cool. No worries. I just sent it, so. Yeah, it should be fun. Like I don't know how much people actually see the community posts, but you know, it better than nothing, I guess. I don't know how the algorithm works for that. Yeah. Yeah, it allows me to share the live stream as a community post, which admittedly is pretty convenient to be honest, but uh-oh, yeah, they're starting to come in. Let me see if I can pop out the chat. Okay, I don't need to keep the actual live stream up, right? I can just keep the chat up.
Hi guys, my name is Avery, but I go by Soavecito, and welcome to Whispers of Horror episode 10. I can't believe we're in double digits. I have a special guest, BigGaming64. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be a part of this. If you want to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. My name's Big Gaming. Those of you that have watched me already know that. My real name's Zach for anyone interested, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. We're gonna be talking about a lot of content creator stuff.
Perfect.
So yeah, it should be a good time.
I'm very excited. We talked a little bit off air, and I think we vibed off really well, and I feel like we have a lot to talk to. Just real quick, I just want to say we are live on YouTube, we are live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook, and we are live on X, which X is interesting. It's I want to call it Twitter, or I don't know what to call it, but
I still
we
call it Twitter.
it's so hard.
It
It's so
yeah.
it's just like you make a tweet, you're tweeting. Like, what am I supposed to? I'm like Xing. Like,
Yeah.
it just feels weird. And so I don't even want to get into that. We might talk about that later. But okay, so welcome to Whispers of Horror. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. If chat has questions, then we can ask them. But I'm gonna start off with the perfect number one question. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started as a content creator? I would like to say, or a horror content creator.
So that's a great question. I actually didn't start with horror content. I
Okay.
started with kind of making shorts that I thought were funny to, try to make my friends laugh. And that, some of them started to do well. And I was like, oh man, making these short videos is really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to think, oh, well, gaming is one of my biggest passions. Can I try to fit some of that in there possibly?
Okay.
And one thing led to another. Some of those videos started doing well. I got more obsessed with it. It started taking up all my thought. And I've always loved horror games. I've loved horror games since I first played Resident Evil 4 when I was 9 years old.
Great game.
I've been obsessed with scary things since I read the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark trilogy of books when I was a kid. So I was like, let me see if I can do some horror shorts. I didn't see anyone else on any platform making, like, kind of how you said before we started the podcast, those video essays, but in under a minute. It's like a mini essay almost.
Yeah.
I see lots of, horror video essays on YouTube, but I don't see any shorts, TikToks, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let me try it. And the rest is history. I mean, the first one I made was about Lost in Vivo.
Oh,
And that
okay.
completely took off. And then I did another one about fear and hunger. And those, I mean, yeah. Basically, the rest is history from there. I realized very quickly,
This is what you need to
wow,
be doing.
yeah, this is what I need to be doing. And luckily, it was something that I loved very dearly. It wasn't something I felt like I had to force myself to do. I was obsessed with it. I loved it. And yeah, rest is history.
Yeah, honestly, like, I think what's awesome about your content is that it's not, how do I put this? It's definitely like indie horror, like indie game horror. It's not just like the AAA big games. Like sometimes you do that, but it's those games that some people never heard of. Like I listen, like when I watch your videos, there's like 20 or 30 games that I've never heard of that you make me want to go play, just because like how you explain it and just your hook. You have an incredible hook, which like I even draw on inspiration to try to make something very similar to that in my content. But you're
Thank
like,
you.
this is the most disgusting game that I've ever like. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what do you mean disgusting? Hold on, should I like
Yeah.
let me close my windows or anything like that? But nah, honestly,
Yeah.
like your content is truly, truly, truly amazing. So I hope you keep it up, and
Thank you.
hey, props to the major success you had making it. And like I said, it's just different. Like I said, you broke something that like I said, an hour videos that I watched of video game essays, and you made it for more of this. I wouldn't even say market, but like just the space. People are more into the short form content, and I think it's the smart move. So,
Yeah,
um,
I think short form content has a lot of value, especially if you can pair it with long form stuff. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that,
yeah.
even across platforms. So yeah, I think that's a very good point.
So I wanted to ask you, when did you start making content? Like, what was the like official, like years, months?
Well, I started when I was a very young kid,
Okay.
like middle school. My brother and I doing home videos that are uploaded to YouTube that I will not be telling anybody what they are, because if those ever see the light of day, they're the cringiest thing in the world. We used to do review videos of games where we would, have the camcorder pointing at the TV. We would do little skits and stuff like that.
Good old days.
And I always knew it was something I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but that's probably my earliest memories of it. In terms of actually seriously sitting down and making content,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I started in 2021 when uploading to TikTok started gaining a little traction for me.
Okay.
And, that pivot happened to horror stuff probably around early 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2023, I was like, okay, let me do this YouTube thing. Let me give this a shot. And that, I could not have expected what happened after that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. We have a question. Bill Cipher says, "Hey, I got a question for Big Gaming. What was your first horror game you've played?" That's a great question.
That is a good question.
I don't even remember.
So that's a broad, what defines a horror game. Honestly, I'm going to give a couple answers for that.
Sure.
The first one I remember taking home and putting in a console was Resident Evil 4. I was 9 years old. But I played House of the Dead, obviously in arcades.
Mm-hmm.
And I did play early, like, one of the things I always mention, it has been hugely influential for indie horror games, was early Flash games.
Mm.
Early horror Flash games like Ex Mortis, like Intruder. Those I played, well, I tried to play. I mean, they scared the absolute hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But those I remember kind of huddled around the family computer with my brother and playing those. So
Oh, you know
yeah,
what game that you're bringing it back? Flash.
Flash games.
There
Yep.
was one game that literally terrified me, and that was The Last Stand. You ever played that? It's like the basically you play as this guy. You have a weapon. You point it at, and waves of zombies come at you. You got to build barricades. You have to like scavenge for like people, like more stuff, and
Yeah.
just the waves and waves of zombies. Oh man, I got chills. But yeah, that was I think one of my first horror games, and I just was hooked. I literally was hooked, so I totally get that. We got another question. Does Hello Neighbor count as a horror game? If so, have you played it?
I've played Hello Neighbor 2,
Okay.
and I know we can't define horror games as just games that are scary. Um, and while I have a lot of
Can you say that again? Sorry, like I think people need to hear that. I think
yeah,
that you just
yeah.
hit on the
So
nail.
a game doesn't have to be scary to be a horror game. House of the Dead, like I brought up before, is a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
It's never meant to scare you. It's meant to be a fun arcadey, experience, but it is still a horror game. Defining a horror game is more about the themes, setting, the tone of the game,
Mm-hmm.
which horror games can still be silly. Dead Rising is a great example. But due to the tone around the antagonist and due to how they set up and structure the game,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say yes, it is a horror game. At the very least, it's horror adjacent. I have a lot of trepidations about the quality of Hello Neighbor 2. I can't speak on Hello Neighbor 1. I haven't heard good things about it, but Hello Neighbor 2 was a nightmare, for lack of a better term. But I played through the whole game, so yeah. Not the biggest fan of Hello Neighbor 2.
Yeah, I think I do want to touch a little bit more of just like what classifies a horror game because for me, like I agree with you. It's not it has to be scary. It just what people classify as horror. So like you said, House of the Dead, zombies is kind of in that horror game trope. Like those kind of things. It's not all about just jump scares. There's different ways that and elements that it can be in that category. But I do want to ask, like, speaking about just horror games, just horror. Do you have a favorite horror movie? Like, what is your favorite horror movie that you've seen?
So
Kind of
gaming is really my only kind of entertainment hobby.
Sure.
I'm not into
Okay.
music. I'm not into shows. I'm not into movies. But I do like horror movies. I'll
Okay.
go to a theater and watch a horror movie. I would have to say I love Insidious 1 and 2. I love It Follows.
Oh,
Is a good horror movie.
that's a great one. That's a great one.
Um, those are the first ones that jump to my mind. Hereditary obviously is good, but I don't have nearly
have
the
to
kind
disagree.
of knowledge. Oh, you don't like Hereditary?
Oh my god, I thought it was the worst movie I've ever seen, and I might get a lot of flack for that. I went to the theaters to see it, and I was so hyped, and I left disappointed. I have a
Well,
very
I saw it at home.
Okay.
I didn't have a theater experience, so I do want to, I guess, say that. But
I was just gonna get into it. Just like
yeah,
I
you're probably
was
gonna get some comments for that.
Oh, 100%. I'm gonna get so like after I watch
You're gonna get some
this
flack.
when I upload this, I'm gonna get canceled.
I for sure think, like, I'm not gonna claim to have any sort of knowledge about horror movies. I don't have even 2% of the knowledge and experience with horror movies that I do with horror games. So it's really outside of my realm. But there have definitely been some I've enjoyed. I think that games though are so much better for
Okay.
horror experiences. But I'm biased.
No, totally get that. I totally get that. We're gonna jump back then. At what point, like obviously, what was the first horror video that you make when you started making that short form content?
Oh, let's see.
And then, what is your favorite video or horror
That
video
I've ever done?
Yes. So the two-part question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So my first. Are you talking about the long, like the full YouTube videos, like the playthroughs, or the shorts?
We could do both. Let's
Okay.
tackle both. So let's start with short form, and then we'll do long form, and then your favorite of both.
So for short form, the first one I ever made was telling people you need to play Lost in Vivo. It's the scariest game I've ever played.
Okay.
That was back in either late, I was probably early 2021 on it, honestly, a long time ago. That got a lot of people interested. Lost in Vivo is not talked about very much. I think it should. I believe Lost in Vivo belongs in the conversation with the big dogs. I'm talking like Resident Evil. I'm talking Silent Hill. Like, it's an incredible experience. So that was my first short. My first long playthrough was just a random free horror game I found called Forest Dungeon or something like that. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have my, like my style fleshed out or anything like that. I didn't even know the tone I wanted the videos to be at that point. So I can't go back and watch that. I can't. It's way too cringy and way too rough for me to watch.
Okay.
But that was my first. My favorite short I've ever done was probably that's a tough one. I really like making a lot of the Silent Hill lore shorts.
Okay.
I'll say those are probably the most fun to make. I don't think I have one in particular I think stands out, but those are very fun. And my favorite long form video, the first one that jumps out in my head is K9.
K9, okay.
K9 was a lot of fun. The video's called Resident Evil for Dogs.
Okay.
Really cool game.
I'm gonna definitely check it out. Got another question for you. I don't know if I asked this one already, but what's your favorite horror game, and what horror game jump scared you the most? I get that question.
Jump scared me.
Yeah, or scared you, or scared, not even scared, or scared you the most.
So I'll say my favorite horror games are Lost in Vivo, Resident Evil 4, and Silent Hill 2 for different reasons.
Okay, we're gonna get into those reasons.
They're also different. I can't pick between the three.
But if you had gun to your head, you had to pick one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Listen, you're on my podcast, and all rules are broken.
If I have to pick one of them, and this is so.
Don't backtrack.
I'm picking the. No, I know the answer.
Okay.
But I need to explain this.
All right, I'm all ears.
The one that is the most fun to play. Because if I can only pick one and that's all I got to play, Resident Evil 4 is the most fun of those three. No questions. It has the best gameplay. It is
Wait, the remake or the original?
Either.
Okay.
Either. But
gun to your head again. Which one? You had to pick one.
Then I'd go with the original.
Okay. I respect it.
I love them both, but nostalgia plays a bit of a role. I'm not gonna lie.
I respect it. Okay. All right. Resident Evil 4. And then what one scared you the most?
Lost in Vivo was the scariest game I've ever played. Even I would even say it scared me more than PT. But the scariest individual jump scare I've ever had was from a game called Bug House. And the start of the game, it's a $2 game you can go on Steam and play. I'm gonna spoil a little bit of it, so skip this part if you want to play it yourself. It's called Bug House, $2 on Steam, I think. The game starts, your parents have left the house, you're a boy, and you have an imaginary friend. But the game is kind of hinting that your imaginary friend is not a healthy kind of imaginary friend. There's something really kind of dark going on there. And you go down into the kitchen, and all of a sudden your imaginary friend is at the window. And he's like, hey, I'm going to come play hide and seek. You got to hide, and I'm going to come find you. And it is very clear that this imaginary friend is a violent being. And that's what we know so far. All of a sudden, a countdown timer appears at the top of the screen, and you have to hide somewhere in the home. And then basically a home invasion happens. I don't know what it is about home invasion stuff, but that scared the hell out of me. When he came running at you and he found me, oh my god. Bug House is good. It's the second half of the game is like narrative and story based. It's cool. I mean, for $2.
Hey, listen, $2. Go listen, ladies and gentlemen, go check it out. Honestly, I feel you with that home invasion. I don't know what it is. There's definitely been a couple ones where I'm just like, and there's one that gave me a weapon and I still was scared. I just like, I can't do it. But I guess for me, I think Visage. I don't know what it was about Visage. um, that got me just the jump scares and just being in a house. Like maybe it's something with houses. I don't like them, or like when it's creepy. I don't know, but it literally terrified me. And then there's another one that but actually made me cry, and it's the first horror game to ever do that. Was the Dark Occult. It's like AKA the Conjuring House. That's what they call it, and I think it's like a
Dark
third.
Occult.
Yeah, uh, um,
Hmm.
definitely recommend it.
I've never even heard of that.
I think it's 30 hours of gameplay, but
Really?
I think so. I've never beat it because I can never get past more than an hour and a half. I'm gonna spoil a little bit of it. You literally go into this house, this mansion, and you're trying to find your partner who is trying to exorcise this demon, and you're supposed to find these relics to help you exorcise it. But throughout the house, there's other beings and ghosts and apparitions and everything. And I went to pull a lever. I don't know what the term is, whatever. And it grabbed me, and I swear I have the clip on Twitch. It grabbed me, and I had a heart rate monitor. My heart rate went to 145 beats per minute.
Good lord.
And I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. My wife woke up. I woke up the cats, the apartment. People thought I was getting murdered, and it was just. I highly recommend it. If you ever want to play a game that made me almost shit my pants, the Dark Occult. Like I really
Yeah.
can't do it. I wanted to ask, like, so I know we talked about content and everything like that. What is the process like making? We could talk about. This is just all in general. Like, what is the process of making your content? Like, how long does it take, and like, what is your idea of like start to finish? Let's get into that.
So, yeah, like with the playthroughs, it's very dependent on the game itself. So, those are just kind of find the game, schedule them out, do the playthrough, edit, blah blah blah. It's not really that interesting or different than probably what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
But the shorts are a different story. I have to, if I'm doing it about a game, obviously I have to wait till I've played the game and then I take notes about what I want to talk about. But if I'm doing a short just about, some lore or story I want to tell, that's a bit different.
Okay.
I have to have the idea, which I carry around a journal everywhere I go. If I think of an idea, I write it down. So I have basically a list of ideas that I like to go through,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to, write what I want to say. I have to go look for materials, and this is all for a video under 60 seconds. Then you have to film all those segments and make sure that the materials are good, like pictures, videos, etc. And not like, things are getting rewritten too as you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And, then you edit it, render it. That can all take, I mean, at this point, probably two hours or more for one of those.
Just
little
one
videos.
short.
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, but that's like all I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a lot of creators maybe listening right now, figuring out how to balance that sort of thing, because a lot of us work full time and want to do content creation. I do full time. I have a full time job, and I do this full time as well. So,
Okay.
for me, it's like all I do in my free time. But I love it. I love doing this. It's
Yeah, it makes
my
you
favorite
happy.
thing to do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me. I want to talk about just balancing it, because that I think a lot of people don't realize that. Yes, it looks fun to make content and stream these games, play these games, but we all have lives outside of this. Like, so how do you balance like work and like family with making content? Like, yeah. Answer that, and I'll chime in later.
That's a good question. I don't really think I have good advice on that part, because I don't think I do a very good job of it. This has kind of become my obsession, and my free time to do other things. I think seeing family and friends definitely has to happen less. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember off the top of my head the last video game I played that wasn't for content, other than like a local multiplayer game like Smash Bros or Mario Kart with my brother. when we're out at like a party or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a lot of saying no to plans, a lot of telling people you can't do this or you can't hang out on this day. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have a great answer for that.
No,
because
no. It's okay.
I haven't figured it out for myself yet. I'm just upset. I just want to do this.
No, I get that.
That's the stage I'm at right now.
Honestly, and this, weirdly enough, this got deep. Like, and I like this. This is great content. That minus the content, but it's good to see because like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like you got to make sacrifices, especially like if there's something you love and you're passionate about it, but it's hard because you're missing that time with family and friends. So it's just like, even I'm struggling balancing. Like I have a daughter and I have like a wife and I have a job and there's times where I go where I'm not happy because I'm not making content and just like which is a part that makes me happy, but also like my family makes me happy and it's just like there is no good answer for that. But do you ever face a time where you're making a lot of content, you're playing games, and you just do you ever get content burnout? Do you ever feel like you're burned out or need to take a break or a hiatus, or you're somebody that could just keep going? Like, I just wanted to ask.
I don't think I've run into burnout yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this kind of 2023. I was doing a ridiculous pace.
Okay.
A work rate I would not wish on anyone. 2023, I was doing 3 YouTube videos and a minimum of 5 shorts a week. And I was streaming 4 nights a week.
Okay.
And I was working a full-time job. I do not wish that on anybody. That was absolutely unhealthy. That was insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt I really needed to put that kind of craziness into this to really kickstart the YouTube channel for me. And for me, I feel it kind of worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2024, I've been able to have a more healthy, still probably approaching full-time hours, but a healthier work rate where I'm not staying up till 3 in the morning and stuff like that on work nights doing stuff. I'm going for like 2 YouTube videos, 3 or 4 shorts a week.
Okay.
Getting the streams in probably 3 times a week, maybe. Still a lot, but I was coming from, last year, oh my God, that was like, do not do that. Do not do that. Anyone listening, that's insanity.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone saw me that year. Like, it was crazy. So, it's a learning experience, though. And I do feel like I've settled into a rhythm now where I don't feel burnt out. And somehow I still didn't feel burnt out. That's the craziest part. After
you're built different. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know.
Hey, listen, I've hit burnt out. It's just like, I get it, but if you can keep going, then keep going. But I just feel like at some point that wall does come, and like,
oh, for sure,
like the endless scroll.
I'm not burnout proof. I'm sure it's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah. You ever get to the point where like you're trying to find something to play and you're looking at Steam and you're like that eternal scroll of trying to find a game?
That I've been there for. And the craziest thing is I'll do that even though I know I have a journal right behind me with all kinds of stuff written down. I'm sitting there like scrolling on. It's like, what are you doing, man?
Listen, I've scrolled for an hour before I went live.
5 Nights at Freddy's here on Steam,
That's why I love itch.io because they come up with some games and it makes my life a little easier. But when you have that endless scroll, it's just like so demoralizing. It's just like, do I play Outlast for the 9th time? I know everybody likes me watching me get scared of it, but I don't feel like getting like, and there's like millions. No, it's not millions, but there's so many games and so many options. It's just like
definitely hundreds of thousands for sure.
Yeah. And
the thing is, I have experienced game burnout.
Okay.
That I have.
Yeah.
Which I know that wasn't necessarily your question, but hopefully that this is kind of still.
No. It's burnout
I
is general. So like it could be gaming
yeah.
burnout, streaming burnout. It could be like whatever. Like
You remember we were talking about the mortuary assistant before we
yes.
started streaming? I got burnout from that game, and that's a brilliant game.
Mm-hmm.
It was if oh, what's that game called? Signalis didn't come out in 2022, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That Mortuary Assistant would have been my horror game of the year that year.
Oh.
But Signalis came out.
Oh,
and
Signalis is an amazing game.
Masterpiece. Yeah, that game will go down as a modern horror classic, no question. But Mortuary Assistant is incredible. Great gameplay loop. But my viewers loved that game. And to say that they loved that game is the understatement of the century. They were obsessed with it. And I was so enthralled with seeing how much fun they were having that I just kept playing it and playing it and playing it. And this was not their fault at all. I was having a blast with them.
He's not blaming you guys.
Oh, never. No, my chats during these live streams are filled with the kindest people you could possibly imagine. But I didn't schedule it out well.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, oh, we're playing Mortuary System, but then we're changing up next stream, and then we're back to, I was just kind of playing it.
How many hours do you have in it?
Oh, let me check right now.
I was gonna say, pull it up. Pull it up on Steam. Let's do it. We're gonna get a live reaction.
Let's see, Mortuary. Now, let's remember, with the Mortuary Assistant, this is a game you can finish in 5 hours.
Yeah.
Tops, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You can finish it really fast. I have over 25 hours in the game.
Jeez.
I have seen everything you can see in that game many times over.
Respect. 25 hours is that's a day, ladies and gentlemen. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
let me break this down for you.
And it's a fantastic game. But they never intended it. I don't think they ever intended it to be played that much. But
I gotta get the developers on here. That's my next goal.
They're so talented.
I know.
They're so talented. The game is so good, and I cannot wait to see. There's a Mortuary Assistant movie in production.
No, wait, no.
Yes.
You can't tell me that.
Yes, I'm serious.
Who's making it? This is important.
Okay, I don't know the answer to that, but we can find that out right now.
And while you're doing this, I'm gonna break this down because he said 25 hours, ladies and gentlemen. There's 24 hours in a day, right? And a normal person would sleep, I don't know, maybe 6 hours a day. You would take maybe an hour or two to eat. You work 8 hours. He literally sat in front of his computer and played 25 hours of this game. That's not straight. Let me put that. You're right. I'm just saying, collectively.
So it's looking like Dread XP is involved with it, which they're the publishers.
Yep.
It looks like Epic Pictures Group, which is their parent company, also does some films. I don't think it's going to be like Five Nights at Freddy's or Iron Lung.
Okay.
In terms of, AAA Hollywood silver screen stuff.
I heard they're making a Five Nights at Freddy's too. I don't know how I felt about the first one, but
I like the first one.
I thought it was.
Do you want to talk about it? I love.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, we might as well get into it.
We got a couple Five Nights at Freddy's super fans.
Okay, yeah. Listen, I'm ready on a shit list because I already said Hereditary was a terrible movie. And while I'm on a roll, Midsummer was not good either, but that's just me.
I didn't enjoy Midsummer. I thought you could have cut out so much from that film.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that film was absolutely not made for me.
I think maybe it's just that
I'm not the target audience for Midsummer.
Yeah, well, Hereditary and then Midsummer was just not my. They did not make that movie for me because I just like. I'd rather watch paint dry. That's my opinion. But let's talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's get into that. All right.
I know that's not one of your questions, but I was like, man, talk about this movie.
No, honestly, and this is what what's crazy. I usually have like a whole list of questions, and I might have asked you the first one, and I just we're off script. Like I like this because it feels natural. Like
Take the questions and throw them in the
yeah,
trash. No,
just
I'm just
like
kidding.
nah. I,
It's-
it makes it more
sometimes it works out
fluid.
better that way. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's more entertaining that way.
I
We
literally
can
closed
just
it.
go off vibes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Five
So
Nights at
what
Freddy's.
what are you iffy on with the movie? Let's dissect that because
Okay.
I'm coming from the perspective where I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna okay. Give me a score. Let's start there.
Wait, when
Scale
did I
of 1
become
to
the
10.
now I'm the interviewee? Like you're like, I'm getting questions.
I just took over. I
Oh
think.
my
I'm
god! Well, I've
sorry.
never had this happen. I'm mind blown. All right, no, go ahead. All right, so rating score of Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, and I'll okay. When I give you my answer, I'm gonna explain why.
Yes.
I
yeah,
give it
with an explanation.
okay. Okay, well now I have two scores in my head. Okay, so the first score and I have to give it is a 6. And then the next score, due to them keeping it with lore and just like they really kept it with the Five Nights at Freddy's, I have to give it like a 7.5. So
7.5.
yes, so it was just because it had like they took a lot from it, you know. They saw the game, and I appreciate that. It's more because I appreciate it. They really looked into it. They had all the characters. They just even the small little details. The reason why I gave it a 6 is just because I believe they could have really made it a rated R movie, and I think that really like the because I'm a very like yes, I'm a very horror movie fan. And I felt like the PG-13 jump scares were okay, but it just felt it just threw me off, and I just felt like if they made the movie rated R, they could have done so much more. It had so much potential, like, and that's the thing. Like that was the biggest thing that I at points I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, I got bored. There's parts it's just like okay, I get it, like like the pacing was just a little off in certain areas. Again, I think the movie's good, you know, the lore is good, it had great points, like even the jump scares, they were okay. But for me, I just felt like they could have took this movie and they could have threw it out the fucking park. I really did. And again, like maybe that's just coming from like I've seen some real gruesome stuff. Like and maybe that I have high expectations when it comes to this movie. But I just thought animatronics, like creepy atmosphere, like you could have really made this even more scary, which is what Five Nights at Freddy's screams for me. Like when I'm playing it and I'm like at my desk and I'm trying to get these animatronics away, like they could have done so much more with that. And I feel like it just I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like, but again, like overall 7.5 because it kept true to appease myself and other people. This is Five Nights at Freddy's. We're not gonna really deviate from just the characters, all the atmosphere. Like we're gonna make this as close as possible that we can. But it's 6 because I felt like they could have done so much more if they made it rated R.
Right.
That's
So, no, those are very valid points. I kind of want to go through them if you
Sure.
don't mind. The
I'm
thing
ready.
is with the rated R is the number one complaint I hear about the movie,
Yes.
and I know this sounds crazy, but I actually think it's better as a PG-13 film, and I
totally
changed my
respect
mind
it.
on that.
Okay.
Here's why. If you go back to the mainline Five Nights at Freddy's games, which one of them shows explicit gore or blood? None of them. None of
You're
them
right.
do.
Okay.
If you make that a rated R film, you remove that tonally from the entire franchise. You have this film that is a completely different tone than the rest of the franchise, sets a completely different atmosphere than the rest of the franchise. The implied violence of the games that isn't explicitly shown is part of what makes things interesting,
Fair.
in my opinion.
Fair.
And
That's fair.
I think that now, to your point that you wish things were a bit scarier, I agree, and that's one of my kind of nicks on the film. I think there were moments of that, but I wish they went for that creepy, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria atmosphere that like Five Nights at Freddy's 1 especially is known for.
Yeah.
And did it a bit longer. I think they were a bit more concerned with telling a story that the fans would like.
Yeah.
And was that the right play? I personally think so. I
Okay.
think the story was great. The story was for the fans. They were very clear that this isn't a movie for all audiences. It's a movie for fans of the series. So it's
Which I
not something where
appreciate.
they're trying to dumb it
Definitely
down. Yeah,
appreciate it.
which I love.
Hmm.
And for things, maybe certain things didn't make sense for people that didn't love the franchise to begin with, and that's why. It wasn't made for that audience. And that's okay. So that's kind of where I am. I would probably say for me it was closer to like, I mean, I liked it.
8.5.
I'd say
No.
probably like a good solid 8,
Okay.
8 for me.
We're
Like,
not too
I
far off
enjoyed
with the
it.
lore and stuff.
Yeah.
7.58. Okay. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up, like, you made a good point, because if you make it rated R, you kind of take away from the audience that are younger that could go see the movie. So, like, I not like just thinking about that. It does make more sense for that aspect. And I guess just like you said, like maybe it wasn't just not even the rated R. Maybe it's just like they could have just made it scarier, and that's what I wanted. And not even like
Yeah.
the gore factor, because like I would have very. Oh, I love the cat. I'm a cat.
Pumpkin.
Oh, hi, Pumpkin. He threw me off with the cat. Like what? What is this stream, man? Like what is this?
Yeah.
First cat. Oh no, we had a dog. Oh my God, we're getting animals to galore.
Yeah.
Damn, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
no, no.
should've
It's
gone
okay. No. You're good. Like I got to see a beautiful cat. Like that makes my day. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I really wanted, like you brought up, like I wanted to see him at the desk more. I feel like that just like I felt like the night times were short because he was going into the dream one, like he was going to his dreams.
Yeah.
He was taking a medication, like, and the animatronics would move somewhat, but I wanted it like, oh, give me a whole night, like
It was
five.
super narrative focused.
Yeah.
You that
It's
kind
called
of,
Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I want to
Yeah.
see the whole night. Like have it
Right.
go 1 o'clock, 2
I
o'clock,
get
3
that.
o'clock. You know,
I do.
Yeah.
I do. That and that really comes down to a decision they had to make. Do we want to push these dream sequences, the story scenes, or do we want to push it to feel like the games? They went with
They could have done both.
story.
They could have done. I think they could have done both. You could have fit it like.
Yeah.
It's 5 nights. It's literally 5 nights. You could have done this. Like it could have been like the second.
I'm not saying they couldn't do it.
I guess I don't know. I'm just
Clearly
biased.
did make a decision.
Yes,
like-
yes, they did.
They for whatever reason they spec'd into one, and that's the route they went with. And whether or not that's your cup of tea is totally subjective.
Okay.
But I'm just arguing that it wasn't objectively the bad decision.
No, which I again I like the
Yeah.
story narrative, but you know now we're kind of away from the story and we're getting a second one and we might get wretched animatronics, like we got Springtrap, like oh I can't wait. So maybe they
I can't wait.
like how do they continue? What do you think? Like what is your prediction, dude? How do they continue the story? Like are we gonna get more? Like I think, but I don't even think they can do the dream one because he kind of like they kind of closed that off.
I don't
how do you
know
feel?
at all what they're gonna do with the second one. It depends on if they're going to again try to follow the games as closely as possible or really kind of do their own thing.
What do you want?
Like-
what would you want?
I would like the movies to really become their own thing.
Like a series?
Or like where they're not feeling tied down by the lore of the games, where they
Okay.
can do whatever they think is going to tell the best story to the audience rather than whatever the most accurate story is toward the games. I don't think they should be tied down necessarily by the source material as long as they make a movie that is very thematically and very in essence Five Nights at Freddy's. Then I think there can be some wiggle room with the story itself.
Okay. Talk about. I'm really like immersed into this topic. It's very interesting. How do you feel? It still goes on to video games. How do you feel as of late? Video game movies or adaptation for movies have gone. Like so, example. Obviously, Five Nights at Freddy's, but we've seen like the Fallout TV show. I don't know if you've seen that. Or The Last of Us. Have you seen any of those shows?
Not too much, but I talk with people all the time that have watched them. I'm not super. I don't watch a lot of shows.
Okay.
Just to,
Okay.
you know.
I was just curious, like, how do you like, even though you might have talked to your friends, like, how do they feel like about like when it comes to like, are they doing a better job at making these video game or shows or movies? Do you feel like you can even talk about like Five Nights at Freddy's? Do you feel like now they're figuring out how to make video games into action movies, even though the blueprint is right there, and how they fumble the bag with certain like some of the Resident Evil movies are atrocious, and that's just my opinion. I don't care what anybody else says. Some of them I hated them, but like
real quick, they're saying my audio's echoing.
Oh, okay, hold on, let me see.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Hold on, let me see.
Let me know if you need me to test or anything.
Let me see if maybe I can see if I can turn you down a little bit. All right, try talking.
Testing. Does that sound any better, guys?
Guys, do you still hear echo?
Am I echoing? Echo.
It's echoing slightly. Let me see. Yeah, because I think the headphone thing, because I'm watching with speaker and it's good. Somebody said, I think it's a headphone thing because I'm watching with speakers and it's good. So I'm not sure. I don't hear you echoing.
Nope, Orange says all good. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, maybe just turning you down was a good thing.
Cool.
All right.
That works.
Where were we? Yeah.
I think we're absolutely in a renaissance for that.
Okay.
And, I mean, there's just countless good, interpretations. I think, not even just live action, there's lots of animated stuff that's incredible.
Yeah.
The Castlevania show is one of the best
About it. Yeah.
film, TV things ever made. It's so incredible. And I think the amount of great adaptations now outweighs the amount of bad ones. So I think that the curse of video game adaptations has been broken. And I know that maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I really do feel that way.
Good. It makes me happy because like I can, like Five Nights at Freddy's, I can watch a movie or like play a game and watch a movie and still feel the same way as I was feeling the game. If the developers ever watch this, which probably is never going to be, like, can we get a desk or a table or a security thing with a knight's place?
So you want?
Yeah, that's all I want.
The guy sitting there like opening up his laptop and looking.
Not even that. Not even like honestly, not even that. I just want like so my vision for that scene would be like, oh, not even the first night. Like the first night would be like, okay, he's going through seeing all the animatronics, maybe one moves and he's like, okay, that's a malfunction. It's the second night. The second night he's at the desk, he's hearing sounds, he hears a phone call, he answers it, yada yada yada, but then just like he starts seeing movement and like through the security cameras, he start freaking out. He's going with this like. I just feel like they could have done so much with that. Like, have him running from that, close the door. Like, I'm not saying, and then, like, obviously, like, you don't have to, I'm not asking for 6 hours of just, like, straight thing. Like, skip. Like, do an hour. Like, have his heartbeat. Like, I don't know. Like, and imagine, like, they're banging on the door. It's 5 o'clock. Like, 5:59, and it turns to 6. And then, like, I don't know, the alarm system, like, the lights turn on or something, and animatronics go back. And I don't know, man. There was so much potential. Like, it just
definitely didn't feel structure-wise like the game.
Yeah.
But I think.
Would you? I feel like if you just that blurb I gave, you can't tell me like you would enjoy that for just like, okay, now I'm not saying he had to do it for every night, but that could have been a 20-minute scene that just like made your heart jump, like, dude, like they're coming for you, like that's part of the game. Like you're literally surviving from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I'm not, like I said, it doesn't have to be. You could have kept the whole dream realm. You could have kept the whole story, the whole narrative. But that give that like the fans and me just that small little section. But you never know. They're making more games. Maybe they go in the future. And who knows?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the second film is going to be like? I think. They're definitely listening to fans. They've made it very clear they're listening to feedback.
Good, yeah.
So, I'm excited. I'll be there opening night, just like the first one.
Perfect, perfect. All right. I kind of want to go back into some gaming stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you've been streaming, and your community is very important to you. So I want to touch like how, like, what is your community to you, and how does that play a factor of the content you make, and just how your streams go, and just overall, and like, and it doesn't even only have to be streaming. It could be like just the content in the comments. Like, how does that make you feel when you get with your community?
I'll say that my community is probably the single best thing to happen to me since I moved out of my parents' house years ago. They're the single best, greatest thing that's happened to me in my life since then.
Okay.
They've just completely, given me this obsession that I have, and they make every step of that, like, they're the reason why I'm so excited to work on the next video, to work on the next short, get the next stream ready. I'm just so obsessed with how they're going to react to things, what they're going to say to things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, they're just unbelievably kind to not only me but each other. And I'm extremely biased, but I really believe that I have the best, most kindest community in this space. I really feel that way.
I think that's amazing, man. Like, I think just overall, it literally, I could just hear in your voice, it drives you to make more content.
Oh, yeah.
Just and be.
I think that's why I don't
yeah,
get burnout.
yeah.
Is honestly because of them. I am obsessed with. I'm excited to upload videos because I can't wait to see what they're going to say about it.
Yeah, man. It's and it's true. Like, we do this, we make this content for the entertainment of others, but like, it's community based. Like, being able to just talk to people in different places. Like, I'm sure you have a audience in just all around the world, right? Like,
Actually, do you want me to tell you where? Like, obviously.
Oh, we could do this. We could talk about this. Obviously.
So, yeah, normally, if you're a content creator, wherever you live is going to be your number one territory.
Sure.
That's no different for me. Like, when it comes to analytics. So, United States is my biggest. That's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's like that for every single creator. Period.
Mm-hmm.
My second biggest, by a country mile, and sometimes almost as big as my United States presence, is the Philippines.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, by far.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
And I don't know why. I do have a lot of viewers in India as well.
Okay.
Big shout out to India, and big shout out to the Philippines.
Russia for me is one of the biggest.
Russia.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's the interesting thing. Is
yeah,
like,
you never know. The algorithm's weird.
Yeah, like so, I have a lot of people that watch me in India, a lot of people that watch me in the Philippines as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, big love. Again, the people that come out into the comments from the Philippines, from India,
Mm-hmm.
so kind, unbelievably kind, just good-hearted, good-natured people. And I don't know why those happen to be the locations. One of the theories I have is that maybe it could be a time zone thing when I upload, or maybe it's because
maybe there doesn't have to be a reason. It's, that could just be.
You're probably right.
Yeah, there has to be no reason, and it's just meant to be.
Maybe they just love horror. They love getting scared, just like me.
Some people, some people like to react, or you just tell a great story, and I think that's one of the biggest thing, like, that TikTok is turning into, is people love to hear people talk, but know what they're talking about. Like you said, you put 2 hours into one video. You know, so and
2 hours if I'm rolling.
Yeah.
If things are going well.
That's a minimum. And so so you talk with, and I try to do it, and I did it in 30 minutes, and my video just, I felt like wasn't on the same level. But it's just like, if you preach and you are so confident in what you're speaking, people will listen to that. Like you said, when I watch your videos, like, I'm convinced to play, like, do research on Lost in Vivo, just the way you are like so passionate. This is one of the like it's not like this is the one scary game that I wanted you guys to check. No, you are passionate about that, and that's what the platform is turning. They want to be like I feel like audience will want to see a person be emotional and just be like convicting on what they're talking about because then you're more interesting and you're trying to draw people in. So like I said, I commend you for doing that because you got a craft and I like I said, don't lose that because that's I'm not gonna say I'm not trying to steal it, but I'm trying to. That's an inspiration.
Yeah, there's no such thing as like unless it's you're literally
No, there is stealing. Like I want somebody
yeah,
to like
okay.
word for
Stealing.
word.
But being inspired by someone and being like, oh, that's a good idea, let me try that. That's absolutely not stealing at all. I mean, I think the most important thing to do for growth is find a niche, number one, because every part of gaming is oversaturated at this point. So find a niche, find a category of some kind, and then do something, do it differently than anyone else you can find is doing it right now.
Which is why I'm doing Whispers of Horror.
Bingo!
Yeah.
Like, literally, that again, and you know, we were talking like, oh wow, episode 10, but in the grand scheme of things for a podcast, 10 is still baby. This is going to take a long time to grow.
Long process.
And I'm saying that is a good thing. Like, the potential for this could be huge. So,
Thank you.
You know, it can be frustrating to not see super fast growth immediately, but things take time. I mean, I was uploading shorts on YouTube for like 9 months, almost every day before I was started to see something happen.
Yeah,
so,
and we're only in a month in, and
yeah. So again,
strong.
time is going to be your friend here, and finding a way to do it differently than anyone else is doing it right now, in a niche, I think are the two most important steps to becoming a content creator, right now at least in the time we're at. And
this is content creator advice.
Yeah, because you're dealing with so much oversaturation. You have to find a way, because you can't just bank on your personality. People bring, oh well, what about guys like Queso? He just streamed. What about guys like Jinxie? Those are outliers.
Anomalies.
Those are not the rule. Those are the exceptions, and they are unbelievably talented creators.
Yeah.
There you go. Unbelievably talented creators, but if you're going to get, I guess we can start talking about content creator advice. We've just kind of pivoted to that now.
Listen, this stream has no context to it. Like so
you're fine with this. This is fine. Okay.
Totally fine.
So,
let's get it.
I do want to give a couple pieces of advice.
Sure.
Like measurable advice, not stuff like just make the content you want to make. That's not good advice. Don't do that, actually. I'm not telling someone to not make the content they want to make, but you can't only make the content you want to make. You have to have a plan.
Yes.
You have to have a strategy. If you want it to become something more than just uploading videos for your friends. Here's the key. Like I said, find a niche, and I'm talking about within the gaming space, because that's
can you explain? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Yeah, I'm just jumping in, but can you explain what a niche is? Because I don't think not everybody knows what that is. So I want you to like elaborate. When you say a niche, like what is that specifically?
So a niche is like horror games is my niche.
Okay.
So I'm not just
like a category.
Gaming. Like
a subgenre.
Gaming is too broad. Yeah, gaming is way too broad. It can't. Again, unless you're the few exceptions that can play anything and people are going to show up, that's different. But we got to look at what the reality is for most creators. Finding a niche, something people are going to know you for. So that narrows things down. Because again, we're talking about an oversaturated market of a bunch of streamers. Everyone has access to streaming right now. Or just uploading videos. This doesn't apply just for streaming. So find a niche. See what other people are doing within that niche and find a way to do that differently, or come up with a totally new idea within that niche. That's a little less common, but finding ways to do things differently that are still compelling is another key. And then I'll give another piece of advice for people wanting to stream. Stream less. and I know.
As I told everybody, I'm streaming every day.
Well, so what I mean.
No, I agree. Like I'm
So
not. I don't disagree
here's
with
the
this.
thing, though. You're still uploading videos. That's the difference. You're still doing this. That's the
Yes.
difference. Here's the thing. When I say stream less, if you're streaming almost every day and you're maybe getting one clip uploaded a week, that's not how you grow.
Of course.
You should focus on putting evergreen content into the ethos, into the ether, not ethos, into the ether.
Ether. I like the ethos.
And that is going to be your key to people finding your stream if you want to primarily be a streamer.
Yes.
I am not primarily a streamer. Streaming is my tertiary thing. I focus on shorts. Short videos is my number 1. Long videos is my number 2. Streaming is my number 3. Pumpkin, what are you doing? Come here. Sorry,
Can I actually jump in and explain why I agree with your concept of streaming less?
Yeah, go ahead.
And so the reason why I'm streaming more and streaming every day is I'm trying to I'm trying to get into the gaming rankings. Like I feel like if I could get into like that stratosphere of whatever TikTok is doing. But for me, I'm just trying to utilize TikTok and their gaming thing. So the discoverability of the live is different. So I'm trying to learn that as much as possible. Obviously, and Whispers of Horrors is Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Not a plugin, but a plugin. So like when I think I have an off thing, it doesn't work. But to your point is why streaming less is a good thing is yes, you make more content, which is short form, long form, and those are getting put out to the masses. When you put that video out there, it's gonna stay out there. You know, when you go live, so yes, people can watch the VODs, but it's easier for it to be discovered if you're not live. And the thing is, like, so if you stream less, you're building up not traction, and like people are gonna get more excited if they know you're gonna stream every day. It kind of draws away from, oh, it's Avery, like he's on again, like he's gonna be on tomorrow, so I don't really have to pay attention. But Big Gaming, oh my God,
I didn't think about that, actually.
Yeah, you're streaming Wednesday. Like I'm really good. Like I love this person's content. I gotta wait till next Wednesday to see them. Like that's that. Like you build hype and excitement. So like if you're streaming 2 days or 2 or 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they know. Oh, I gotta wait till Wednesday. I gotta wait till Friday. I gotta wait till Monday to see you because like I wanna talk to you and do this stuff. But if you're streaming every day, like it's like a show. Like some people it gets boring. Like they're playing horror games again. They're gonna be live tomorrow. Like it takes away from the excitement. And I feel like when you miss, yeah, or if you miss something, they're gonna be on tomorrow, or whatever.
Right. So when I do just want to kind of jump in and say, yes, you're streaming almost every day, but the difference with a lot of people is that you're still getting videos out. That's the thing. It's like, if you're still getting videos out, you can kind of stream as much as you want. Like, if your video output's not going to change from you streaming less, then yeah, stream as much as you want. But most people that are streaming all the time aren't getting videos out. That's the drive. Like, it's not just stream less, but refocus kind of thing. And I just want to say these ideas are not from my brain. This is
a lot of people have said stuff like this. This is like from the masses.
I want to shout out a creator right now that is the best account to follow for trying to become a better creator, trying to grow your account and learn streaming, learn short form content. Her name is Kat Liente.
I knew he was gonna say.
She is. I've watched dozens of videos of Kat Liente. She has not given a single piece of advice that I would say is anything less than 1,000% correct. It just unbelievable advice for free that people would pay for.
I know
that kind of advice,
and that's her stick, you know, because it's free and all. Like
that's her niche.
Her
niche is creator help. She does other things like play games, but that's what people know her for.
How crazy is it? That's the first name I already knew who you was gonna say.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
She's so in that niche that her niche has become part of her brand.
Yes.
That's a genius.
And the fact she made me make a creator royale, like her yearly thing where basically she's trying to help other people grow. Like I think it was like 577 entries, and she picks a top 100 to try to get them to grow as much as possible. And it was genius. It was genius.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll tell you why it's genius, because every person that creator that made one of those videos, their audience went to her stream of the 577 creators to go see the creator's video on her stream. Like it's
mutually
it is
beneficial for both the
literally
creators
genius.
involved and her. Yeah,
It's like everybody grows. Like it's so wild. It's so wild. Which
no joke. She is one of the best creators, one of the best gaming creators on the TikTok platform right now.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
stop
I agree.
From any niche. If you are a creator and you're looking for advice,
Go follow her.
please follow her.
Go follow her. I agree.
And you have dozens of videos to watch of just like gold and like that whole Streamless thing. That's all from her. That is not Big Gaming is so smart. No, this is her. Like, that's where a lot of this is coming from.
I use her templates for like trying to like sponsorships. Like I have her like listed
I use her
favorite.
templates.
Even like I literally have all her videos like favorited on TikTok and like Twitter. Because she's just she's telling you, this is what you need to do, and if you follow her right, it's like the very golden what's the Wizard of Oz, like the golden brick road or whatever. Like you follow it,
golden ticket, whatever.
yeah, whatever, yeah. Fairy dust. You literally, it's a blueprint how to make it work.
Give me 1 second. I'm opening my door.
No, you're good. We're gonna wait 1 second, but I just want to read chat real quick. India, let me see.
Oh yeah, I got a few people saying shout out to. See, yeah, I told you. Look, 2 people right there. India.
Big G, what hood classic? Okay, we got a question for you. But before that, I just wanted to bring up. I wanted to continue just talking about like growing and just making content, everything like that, like, and just being different. So I wanted to try, like, I know, and then I know you wanted to talk about developers and stuff, but this is kind of going into that. So the reason why I made Whispers of Horror was I loved, like, driving to work, I loved podcasts. I loved being able to just listen to something. But then I had the idea, crazy enough, I was in a hospital. I was like, it's
when you came up with
yeah, actually. And I was sitting in there and on the hospital bed. Sometimes it's just weird anomalies of where you get inspiration. And I was like, I love horror and I love listening to the horror game gaming essays. I was like, how dope would this be if this was live? Like, and like I said, I love being a content creator and I love being live. I only go live. So my biggest thing is I'm scared to play horror games by myself. And the reason why I go live is because I know people are going to watch me, so I don't feel as alone. Yeah. So that's my stick. But
great idea.
That's literally my stick. I literally don't touch any video games or make any content unless I'm live. So that's what my thing is. So I was like, okay, how can I do this? I was like, I want to interview like horror gaming, like content creators. I want to interview horror game developers, and like obviously I'm working on movie producers. I was like, but how cool would it be if I can get certain people on here? Like, so because like when people are live streaming, not everybody gets to chime in, but this is on more personal level. Like people are more focused on the game, but this is to get to know the people behind the games that they make, the people that are making the content, to get like just a personal level, but also another way to grow. Like when I'm reaching out to these developers, they're using my platforms as another way of outletting their game, and like just being able to speak passionately about the product they're having, and like, and or even you, like just being able to just talk how passionate you are about making content. Like it's a way just for people to really understand like the hard work, the dedication, and just the time that is put into this, you know. And I just thought like that would be a cool way to just to do things. And also like me reaching out to these developers and just being able to just talk to them on a personal level, even potentially try some of their games, and just be like, and then figure out like what's the process. It just like things we don't get a chance to. People, I felt like it would give people an opportunity to like see it's not easy to do coding, or it's not easy to put a game together. It's not like, oh, we're gonna put Resident Evil 4, which is one of the best games of all time. No, this is the step by step of how these people are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it. So I was like, you know what, let's do it. And honestly, it's growing, so I'm happy with it. But I wanted a place where people can outlet their product, their art. You make art. Horror content, horror movie producers make art, and it's a product of you. So I wanted this to be that. I wanted for people to see what you envision and just be passionate about it. And yeah, that's how Whispers came up in a hospital.
In a hospital. I think eventually this is going to become a fantastic platform for indie horror developers to get on, talk passionately about an upcoming project, and it will be, free promotion for them.
Yeah.
Which really is what it's all about, is elevating those smaller creators that don't have the budgets for, ridiculous marketing and stuff like that. They can get on a show like this that has an established audience that's going to
over time continue growing. Yeah.
Well, but those are people that are automatically all going to be interested in horror games. If they're listening to you, they're going to be interested in horror games. Just
Agreed.
Full stop. So it's going to be such a mutually beneficial thing for both the developers that have an upcoming project or a recently released project, and you as well.
Yeah, and then like I said, their audience I get to present myself in front of them. And the people that they even like your people too, like just put myself out there and just be like, I want this to be a space where people come to watch horror, like just the horror. And that's what they love it.
This is your, when I was talking about a niche and then find a way to do it differently, this is your differently.
Yeah.
That you want to find. It doesn't have to, you're not reinventing the wheel.
No, I'm just made my own. It's a little brown wheel that's right next to everybody else's big wheel.
you make a wheel that's shinier in a different way than the and the other wheels are still great, but when everything is so oversaturated, you have to find a way to stand out somehow. And I think, again, this is different than any sort of podcast I've done. Okay. I haven't done a huge amount, but I listen to a lot too, and this is different. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think episode 10. I think the sky's the limit.
Honestly,
triple digits in no time, 10 to 100.
Yeah, no, honestly, like this is the most off script, different. Like episode 10 is truly amazing because I've never went over an hour and we're literally past that, and I think we're like.
Oh, we are. I didn't even notice the time.
Yeah, which you let me know when you're ready to. You're like, I don't know how much time you have. Usually I do an hour, but I if you're okay to keep going for a little bit more.
I was gonna do around an hour, but you know what? Let's do a couple more interesting questions.
Sure. I'm just.
I obviously. We work, like we just talked about. Got work tomorrow, but
totally, I get that.
And I don't see any reason to cut off right now. Why don't you maybe there's a couple really interesting ones you wanted to ask that you're like, man, I really want to ask.
Yeah, definitely. So I have actually I wanted to a person in the chat wanted to ask you a question. So Big G, what hood so I just want to shout out chat. Like, sorry, we're not ignoring you. We're just focusing on the conversation, but I just want to just read some of the comments and we can go from there. Big G, what hood classic horror game from the
good classic horror game?
Oh, good. Good classic horror game. It could be a hood classic. You never know.
Yeah, certified hood classic.
Don't judge. Like,
you know what?
Listen, there's hood classic horror games which I've never played, but what good classic horror game from the past would you like to have another game released from? Like something similar to what's happening to Clock Tower right now with the Clock Tower remaster. So basically, what game would you like to see potentially remastered? Resident Evil. Yeah.
Shout out to Orange for that question. Orange is, he's been watching me since the Stone Age.
Oh, nice. Day ones.
Orange is one of my most trusted people, period. So.
Hey, shout out to you.
Big shout out to Orange. So, that is a great question, and I swear, Orange, it's like you know what I'm doing. I was literally getting materials for a Clock Tower remaster video before this podcast. So I would have said Clock Tower if WayForward didn't announce Clock Tower officially coming to to territories outside Japan. Oh, you meant Hood Classic, like a certified Hood Classic. Okay.
Oh, see.
I was so wrong. I just assumed it was a. Look at me.
Just
Being
saying.
wrong.
I read it right. You try to play me.
That is a big gaming L. No,
he fumbled the bag, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, I was right.
He acted like I know what's going on. So, yeah, my answer would have been Clock Tower, but you know, we have the exciting release coming from Way Forward. I think it's gonna be so good. I can't wait. Because that's already a thing. I'm gonna ignore Silent Hill 2 and 3 because the source code for those games have been lost. So I'm just gonna assume that can't happen. I want to say something like Rule of Rose. I would love to see come back on modern platforms. Rule of Rose, definitely would like to see that come back to modern platforms. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. If we could get a playable version of that on the next Nintendo console, I will do cartwheels in the street.
Okay.
I would be over the moon. I would be so happy. So those are some examples, and I know those aren't the most creative examples, but they're beloved games for a reason, in my opinion. Also, Siren.
Oh, I was just about to say
Siren series.
No way. There's no. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna say I literally was about to say that game. Like I'm not even joking. Like I'm not even I was gonna say Siren Blood Curse. Like that game with upgraded graphics. Chef's kiss.
Siren 1, you can download on PS4, PS5.
Really?
It's just the PS2 version of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just the PS2 version of the game. It's not remastered or anything like that. Siren Blood Curse you can only stream.
Manhunt.
It's a PS3 game.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we could get a Siren Collection remastered.
I'm getting goosebumps. I ain't gonna lie.
PlayStation.
Ooh, listen, the showcase is coming up.
Do you want free money? Yeah, but they got rid of Japan Studio. They shut them down.
Which I know we're running out of time, but I do have like 3 or 4 more questions for you, which is gonna we're gonna just bang these out because I know we're like it's a weekday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm probably I'm gonna hate missing sleep. Okay, my first question is how do you feel about big companies buying these smaller, not even these gaming studios, and like with the closing of one of the developers the studios that they want to close, Tango Games and Arcane, which made oh my god, not even Resident. I'm sorry. Evil Within 2 and Dishonored, like the other company, like those games were so staples, which broke my heart. Like, will we ever get an Evil Within 3? Which I don't know. But how do you? What is your feelings towards that once you got that news and just like that in general, like how these companies are buying them, and then it just feel like a lot of layoffs and closing of studios that made amazing games.
So I'm gonna be very candid here. I think these big industry acquisitions are awful for the gaming industry. I think they are. I don't think there's good examples of them. I think they're like these giant. I'm talking about like these big conglomerates, like Microsoft buying Bethesda. Microsoft. It's like Microsoft's. I'm sorry, they're doing it the most right now, so they're gonna be my example. Mm-hmm. This isn't a fanboy console war thing. I'm a PC Nintendo guy, so again, I'm not getting involved in that. But they're the ones doing it the most with the most amount of money. Mm-hmm. I think they're terrible for the gaming industry. I think when you consolidate, that is not a good thing, mm-hmm. and that reduces competition and in turn creativity. And I think Microsoft coming in, buying these super creative studios like Tango Gameworks, and then shutting them down after a great game is nothing less than disgusting. And I really think that they should be ashamed of themselves. And Tango Gameworks deserved far better than to be bought by Microsoft.
Yeah. I agree.
We are in a sad, sorry state when you release a universally praised banger that, by their own admission, checked check the boxes of all their analytics when they look for in a game launch, and then you shut down the studio.
I think honestly, when it comes down to it, I think these companies like Xbox sees like a successful couple games, and they're like, oh, it makes money, and then when they acquire them, they're like, I think they're not doing enough. They don't know enough. They just see something that can potentially make more money, which I understand, but and then when they're not making, or maybe they have benchmarks that is unachievable for some of these companies, and even if the game is super successful in the eyes of us, like I don't even know how to explain it. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's all corporations and pleasing the shareholders. They have to show profit, so they got to get rid of expenses when they're not making enough money.
Yeah.
They'd rather appease the shareholders than get rid of, or than to hold on to these teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the shareholders, right? Shareholder value.
I'm not gonna lie, I have stock in Microsoft, but
well, yeah, but
I know I'm not
like,
making the decisions. I'm just putting it out there.
No.
Xbox, I got no shade. Like if you want to sponsor your boy, like I'm just not putting it out there.
Oh, after they're about to hear what I'm gonna say.
Oh no, wait, hold on. I'm gonna cut this out. No, go ahead.
Like, I think it's absolutely disgusting, and I think it's a problem of management at Xbox and Microsoft, which is probably breathing down their necks.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? I'm sure they feel so bad about it.
No.
Oh, it was a tough decision. We feel so bad. Yeah, you're still collecting a paycheck. You still get to keep your job. And you're collecting a very healthy paycheck, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the people that lost their job, that spent years in delving into a creative passion and were promised more security.
And had successful games. They had successful games. Like they shouldn't have to feel like they're gonna be out of a job the next day. How do you have successful games and that happens?
I know this is probably killing my chance at any sort of partnership or anything like that in the future, but it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it was a disgusting day for the game industry, and a showcase in June is not going to make me forget about all this stuff.
I agreed.
Obviously, it hurts even more, and this isn't just for Tango Gameworks. This is for all 4 of the studios.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, but Tango Gameworks is the easiest one to talk about because they just had a game release.
I think it was High Rush. What was that? That was very
High Rush,
which was highly successful.
Award-winning game, yeah. Like
don't understand. The CEO couldn't even give a good answer why they were closing it down, but whatever.
Sarah Bond, yeah, that was off. That was just
it was PR. It was PR. I hate it.
So,
couldn't stand it.
I'm very angry, and
disappointed,
and terrified for the other game developers who are really trying to push creative ideas in an industry that is so anti-art right now. And again, it's an industry problem, but, and this is what I feel like a lot of people aren't being critical enough for, it's an Xbox problem right now too. Like, let's not pretend that Xbox is not the majority of these of the awful layoffs we're hearing about right now.
But my biggest thing is too, like, I think we're getting to a point where because when I was talking to one of the developers, they just said they'd rather just stay indie, because they keep, it's like signing with a record deal. Like, you get to keep your product. Like, you don't know like what influence these companies have because they own you. So like you're gonna
support them financially.
Yeah,
it's like buy your indie. If you see an indie game you're interested in, I implore you to, if you can't financially support it, watch your favorite content,
share it,
stream the game, or play it, because those watch numbers are very important for getting the word out about the game. Like, maybe you can't buy it, but or maybe you have to wait for a sale. Okay, I understand, but I think watching people play the game helps the game a lot when it's higher on the Twitch charts, the YouTube charts. I think that's a good thing, and I've become really mostly an indie guy at this point. Still love my Nintendo games.
Yeah, but you're an outlet for them. It's like it's promotion for these games. Like if you didn't mention certain games, I would have never found out. And I actually looked at them, and I'm thinking about acquiring them. Like, that's how it works. Like, we as content creators are yes, we make content and we get something out of it, but this helps the developers who don't get enough attention, and help them financially to be able to support making other games. Some people like do this full time. This is their jobs. And for companies, big companies, to do something like that, it just like, it's heartbreaking. You know, like one day you have a job and then you see an announcement. They probably got an email saying, "Hey, you guys are all done," and like that's just not how you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an email.
I know. I got two more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm yapping too much.
no. Actually, like I said, one of the best episodes so far.
Thank you. That means
The evolution of horror, which I think this is an awesome thing. How have horror games evolved over the years, and what trends do you see in the genre's future?
great question. I think
I know I wrote it.
I think you kind of have, you know, the start of survival horror really into the public eye, where that's where horror games really kind of felt legit, was when survival horror started coming into play. Started with Sweet Home with the idea, Alone in the Dark, then Resident Evil was the real takeoff for the franchise, Silent Hill, the rest is history. We all know about how important survival horror is to not just horror but gaming as a whole.
What is survival horror like? How do you classify survival horror? Because I think that's a whole difficult discussion.
Yeah, survival horror is a subgenre of horror, and it's often some of the most popular, at least AAA horror games, are survival horror games, and they're normally marked by tense encounters with enemies that you can fight back against, limited supplies to do so, and decision making regarding those supplies. Puzzles are normally a part of most survival horror games that I've played. I don't think that's something that absolutely has to be there, but I also couldn't see one without it, so I don't know. Maybe I'm taking that back as soon as I say it. But it's certain game design philosophies that define a survival horror game. Like, for example, Layers of Fear is not a survival horror game. It's more of a walking simulator that is just designed to scare the player. Survival horror games are more about setting an atmosphere, you know, focusing on tense encounters with, again, things you can fight back against.
Is Dead Space one?
Yes.
Disagree.
Great game.
I'm not saying.
And the remake's awesome too.
I actually was listening to somebody who made a great point. They said Dead Space is not a survival horror game because it's too linear. Like you're following a path. Like you're following like this.
I don't agree with that.
I thought it was interesting. It was an interesting debate. I'll send you the link. Like we can listen to it.
Look, I haven't heard the argument for it. They're absolutely entitled to their opinion, but yeah. My gut reaction is I really think it is a survival horror game. Limited supplies, tense enemy encounters, and decision making with those supplies. It even has puzzles. It's structured so similarly to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And would you say that's a survival horror game?
Resident Evil 4? Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I'm stuck on. It's hard. It's hard to. Yeah.
Even said that they based their game so heavily off of Resident Evil 4. It's so inspired by Resident Evil 4, even at the core of the game design.
I definitely think this person's like just because it was like a 3-hour Dead Space like trilogy of how the story, but just the way they explained it just made more sense. And I probably gotta watch it again, but they were just basically saying like, the game is pushing you in this one direction, and yes, you got the encounters, you got this thing, but like you like, do you really get to make decision makings when you gotta do this? It's like not really backtracking, like you're just always moving forward. Like Resident Evil, you can kind of backtrack and to go to like different, like to the same locations, but Dead Space is more like, okay, this is where you have to go next. Like, and again, like I said, I gotta probably re-listen to it, but the way he explained it made a lot of sense. Why he just thinks it's just mislabeled.
I haven't listened to the video,
so
I don't know the core of the argument.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
My gut reaction.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. It's like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm gonna send it to you, and then you can listen to it, and then we'll have another topic. But let's get back to it because we're gonna I could talk to you for hours. Like, and you know what? And I think we're gonna have another episode because
we could do another episode.
All right, perfect.
If listeners want to see it, I would.
I think So I was just asking, like, what do you see the genre's future? Like, what do you like?
So I'm gonna be honest. I think the future of the genre, obviously, the easy answer is to say indie developers.
Mm-hmm.
They've been carrying the genre since before the AAA horror renaissance that really kind of started back with Resident Evil 7. There was a long period of time where we were just not getting good AAA horror games.
Yep.
Resident Evil 7 really kind of invigorated that passion for them back in 2017. But the reason I think the future lies with indie developers is not just because they've been, revitalizing atmospheric horror games, survival horror games, with things like Signalis, Crow Country that just came out. But I actually think the future of our horror game developers right now are working on Roblox games. And I know that sounds insane. Those young kids are learning how to make horror games in Roblox. I've played some of them. Wait till you see what these kids are going to be able to do when they're
older,
doing this for years, and they're working at some sort of actual game development team.
Yeah,
they're the future.
Okay.
The kids learning how to make these experiences and make these games this early in life. Oh man.
I
have a whole newfound respect for Roblox as a game development tool and platform. It's teaching so many people how to make games for free.
I could never get into Roblox. Maybe, so you're saying I should try to get into it if I want to. I never got into it, to be honest.
I'm not encouraging you to get into Roblox, but I am advocating for Roblox as a fantastic platform for getting people into game development, and I think the young people making games in Roblox right now are going to be working for Capcom on the next Resident Evil game in the future. I really believe that. Or working on an indie project in Unreal or Unity later down the line or something like that.
Okay.
We've already seen Lethal Company, I think, was a Roblox game developer.
Really? Okay. All right.
As a Roblox game developer.
That's dope.
I think. Don't quote me on that one, but
We'll do some research. We'll confirm that.
So that's what I really want to hone. People, Roblox is cringy. It's not about the individual games themselves in Roblox. It's what the platform means to people that are getting into game development. It is unbelievable the passion that these young kids have. And I'm just inspired by it, and I can't wait to see what else they're going to create.
Just real quick, I know you brought up Crow Country. I'm working on getting them on my podcast. He wanted me to do a couple episodes, and who knows, we might get them.
Really?
Yeah, I reached out, but I reached out to them before the game dropped, and I just didn't have it up yet. So, but now we're at episode 10. I'm gonna reach out again, and then we're gonna try to get Crow Country on the Whispers of Horror. I totally agree with you. I think the younger generation is gonna be the foundation of horror, and I think we're gonna get to a point where horror is gonna be. I think VR is going to be crazy. I think we're going to get into the point where we're going to be in the games, and I don't know how that's going to be. Hopefully, I'm alive for that because I want to.
Pizzeria at Five Nights at Freddy's eating pizza.
Let's imagine. Can you imagine?
By the way, Chad just confirmed that fact about Lethal Company. So that is true.
Good. That's awesome. All right. I got two last questions. This is for you. What do you see yourself in 5 years with making content? What is your goal? What do you envision in 5 years? This is where you want to be.
I don't have a number in mind. I'm not really thinking about that kind of stuff, honestly. I want to be able to touch more people's lives in a sense that's deeper than horror games. I have messages from people sometimes that tell me hey, your videos have helped me through a very bad depression. I had someone pass away in my life recently, and your videos have helped with that tremendously. I see stuff like that every other day.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that more.
Okay.
But in terms of an ultimate goal with the content, it
could just be in general too, in your life, or I just use content as just a parameter. You could just say just overall, where do you see yourself?
I want to be able to foster elderly cats or disabled cats and give them, like, if they're an elderly cat that's not getting adopted, give them a good place to live out their life. And if that means upgrading to a larger home to do so, because you're talking 5+ years out, that's
a long time.
what I want to do.
Okay.
Obviously, still this is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing, but that's a goal of mine. I want to be able to foster cats that aren't getting adopted at shelters and give them a forever home while they can live out the time they have left. That's what I want to do. And I'm wearing the cat dad hat right
I was gonna bring out.
proud cat dad for
I was gonna bring out your hat. It's awesome. I love the hat.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's. I don't even know what to say. Like, that's honestly amazing. Like, I hope I know for a fact that you're gonna do it. Like, to do something so kind and genuine for animals it's a beautiful thing. So.
It's
I don't know.
For me too. I love being around cats. I think science has proved they reduce stress and anxiety. I think we know that now for a fact.
Well, I think my cats are stressing my wife out. It's doing the opposite because my wife and my cats, they both want to kill each other. So I don't know what's going on.
Look,
you might have to come in.
Not
take them. Just come help me with them.
Yeah.
I'll let them visit.
One thing that's true about having cats is you can either have cats or you can have nice furniture. You can't have both.
God, I think I have two, and I think we should have just gone with one, because once we got the second one, the problems just start. That's a whole nother episode. My final question for you. It's not even a question, but actually, technically it's a question. But is there anything you want to say to people who are listening? Like, is there a message, or there's anything that comes to mind? Any final thoughts that you want to share with our audience who is meeting you for the first time, or people that are going to listen to this once it's uploaded to Spotify or anything like that? The floor is literally yours.
Okay. I want to say that the most dangerous thing to a person's self-fulfillment or their happiness is procrastination, or I'll do it later. You have unbelievable potential to do something amazing. And I believe that every day you should spend at least a little part of that day involved in a passion that not only makes you happy, but makes you fulfilled as a human being. And I think being fulfilled as a person is how you start to love yourself, and that's how you can start to not only work on yourself, but become just a happier person in your day-to-day. Find time again for that passion that I know people listening, I know you're thinking of something when I say that passion that makes you feel fulfilled. Something's coming to your mind. Whatever that thing is, find it again. Reignite that desire to do that again. Even if it seems like a project that's way far out, start a little bit today. That's how you should live, I feel. And it's easy to get caught up in life and put those things that we deem unnecessary to the side. But I think maybe use this now as the way to dive back into that, because it is so important, and being fulfilled as a person is important too. So that's what I would say. Man,
that's powerful. There's 86,400 seconds in the whole day, and and that is such an important number, because you don't want to not take any opportunity to use all of it. Like you said, procrastination is such a deterrent for people with inspiration and stopping people from doing what they really want to do. So utilize every second in the day and just push for your dreams. Like, I totally agree with that. And man, I'm getting emotional. Wow, that's powerful. That's some powerful stuff, man, for real.
I appreciate that.
Man, like, a lot of things you've said today or tonight just caught me, like, not even caught me off guard, but just made me speechless. But listen, Big Gaming, I just want to say this has been one of the best episodes I've ever done. Like, since I've obviously have 10 episodes, but like, this has been
That's crazy to hear, to be honest.
So much fun. We're definitely gonna have to do this again, and I like I said, your art, like it's art. You literally make art, and your content is a beautiful thing. And I'm a fan. I'm always gonna be a fan. I'm always gonna chime in because
Thank you.
you're gonna help me find games. but
Yeah,
um,
at the
but
very least, I can help people find stuff.
yeah, but honestly, like I said, you're an inspiration, and like I said, don't ever give up on this. And I know for a fact you're gonna have a beautiful place for your cats to live the rest of their lives. And I hope one day that we can meet in person and I can see it in when it's fully finished.
Absolutely, that would be amazing.
Perfect. But
this was fun, very well put together.
thank you.
I know we went off script, but I know you had a list of stuff just in case we didn't go off. So I knew you were super prepared. Again, clearly you've been putting in the work. If you got these people that have gotten back to you, very impressive.
Thank you.
I have to ask you advice on that because I suck at that.
No,
I'm
honestly,
so bad
you
at
know
the
what?
networking thing, dude.
I got you. I'll make a deal with you. You help me like work on like my because like I'm very passionate in like video game essays. Like I said, I'm not trying to. I'm inspired by what you're doing. If you could help me teach me how to do some of that, I got you with on how to do the networking.
There we go.
Perfect teamwork. Teamwork.
I think that sounds great because we all have strengths and weaknesses, and man, that's a weakness of mine. And I'm using the email templates we were talking about.
Yeah, no, I got you. I listen. It's we'll. I mean, we got our context, but we'll definitely talk. And I got you. Like I'll tell you my secrets, and we'll do the same. But guys, listen. Thank you so much for being here. This is episode 10. I can't believe we're in double digits. And probably the end of the year we'll be at 100. But this is episode 10. Again, I want to thank Big Gaming for taking the time. It's almost midnight for me and probably him. But yeah, but we're both, it's midnight for both of us. But please go follow him on all platforms. His links are in the description on the YouTube video as well as all the other platforms. Make sure you follow your boy on all platforms. I go live basically every day, just making content. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Like this has been a dream come true, and I look forward to making more entertaining videos for you guys. So with that being said, I hope everybody have a blessed morning, evening, afternoon, tomorrow. I don't even know, but have a blessed